This is very possibly the place he was talking about. But more so, I think this song felt like it was telling me the fun times are over. It's about to get real now, and there's no going back.
They're eating my flesh!
So yeah, this chapter kind of broke any notions I had about what the tone of it was gonna be. I mean, even from the newsletter description, it sounded like it was gearing up to be a more melancholic chapter than anything. Instead, the prevailing emotions were wholesomeness, nostalgia, and Japan. The three things any good story naturally contains. Yeah, the chapter wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Rudy's hecking dead or comatose or something. Ralsei was this close to charring the vast garden in an inferno of jealousy. Asgore's entire arc is him coming to terms with a tragedy nobody but himself blamed him for, and the chapter ends with him getting kidnapped by the knight. Oh, by the way, I need to make a quick amendment to my last video where I proudly declared that I thought Carol was the knight because this was the obvious answer. Yeah, it's just Des, or at least tied to her somehow. It was funny. I managed to successfully jump over the Carol is the knight red herring, only to do a triple somersault right over the infinitely more likely conclusion of Des because of how much sense it made, and landed right back on the Carol red herring. You'll love to see it. These videos are first impressions for a reason, undiluted by more thought-out rationales. That's another thing I should say. Just a note that I'm very out of the loop with the goings-on in the fandom, and whichever prevailing theories or ideas are circulating at the time. That is by intention. I am just personally not one for getting caught in the whirlwind of fandom discourse, both the good and the bad of it. I usually prefer to stay on the outskirts and poke my head out like a meerkat to see what's going on occasionally. The only fandom things I'm privy to are that the evil bird of doom and despair has been dubbed the hometown butcher, and that Gaster's a pirate now for some reason. Oh, it looks funny anyway, so I'll accept it until it's proven false. Or proven true. We never know. So, if I say anything contrary to general fan consensus, or miss any glaring subtextual things, please keep that in mind, okay? Thank you. Everything in Castletown just felt like a massive fever dream, man. I think it's better I just show you my reactions. Hi, Chris, what are you doing out there? You actually look like a zombie right now. Yeah, Chris, that'll happen when you evict your life force from your body. Welcome back, Chris. Oh, no, don't do this to me already. As is tradition, on every playthrough of mine, we need to start with this. Still nothing but garbage noise. I, however, am aware of something interesting we can do with them. Come on, Sham. You can't just say that, man. You can't just hit me with something very, very interesting, buddy. True tie. Defend versus... we're fighting friend. We're definitely fighting friend. I see the door. What in the world? Wait, hold on. What is... I thought that's... I thought that said the kinky bomb. I can't... That's so weird. Hey, I heard if you clear forward... Forward Sanctuary? Oh, God. Man. I tried my hardest with that one. Wow, I'm surprised. Do I even want to ask? I don't recognize this leitmotif, and I don't know if I want to. It is a damn good song, though. Wait a sec. Susie, your legs are missing. Your legs are gone, Susie. No, your legs. You're floating. I can give birth to delirious slams. I think you can be a mother without birth. Prove it. It was also a fever dream in a good way, too. I mean, seeing Susie and Noelle finally become a couple, or at least witnessing the blossoming start of their proper relationship, felt surreal. This was something that's been building since Chapter 2 in 2021, and the lake scene hit really hard for me. The same can't quite be said for Pizza Pants' stuff, though. Listen, guys, I'm not a shipper. I really couldn't care less about which side characters end up with which. But this poor guy's been catfished so hard, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't crushed when he blew up at the nice cream guy on my playthrough. Ultimately, though, it needed to be done. I have seen what the other options lead to, and while they don't have quite as dramatic of a cutscene, I still way prefer the nice cream guy choice. The truth is out. Nice cream guy can escape a toxic friendship with Bratty. Pizza Pants can still recover and keep his coworker as a friend and maybe even boyfriend in future. And this is also the outcome that hurts Bratty the most, so that makes it by default the best one. Seriously, I wasn't expecting the catfishing prick to become my most hated character in the series. Hated in a good way that was intended, by the way. But I don't know, man. I have a special level of disdain for people like her who do some truly hurtful stuff, then, when faced with the consequences of their actions, try to dodge all accountability for them. Any outcome to this side story where she receives the most comeuppance is my preferred one. Oh, speaking of getting catfished, thanks, Toby Fox, for spending the entire beginning of the chapter instilling the fear of God in me that we were actually getting a friend secret boss fight. Very cool and great, man. I'm so glad we got Catsune Miku instead. Sarcastic tone aside, I actually am really glad we got the pink boss fight. She was great. I still can't believe that friend inside me wound up being true. In a semantic way, at least. Character being puppeted by another, cat theming, pink and yellow color scheme, freedom association, it's all there. Just the identity of the possessor and the one being possessed was all off. It was also just very awesome to see the Mad Dummy and the Mew Mew doll be undeniably canon, since in the past with Undertale, Mew Mew was only Switch exclusive, meaning us PC plebs missed out on her fight and expansion of her character arc in that game. We didn't fight friend, but we did fight a friend. Does that make sense? Well, maybe not. But any disappointment caused by not fighting the evil Shadow Cat was offset, especially by her battle theme. It feels like I have to choose my favorite track within the bounds of each chapter rather than just my favorite UTDR song overall, because I can't choose. Undertale's OST is so good, Deltarune Chapter 1's is so good, Chapter 2's is so good, Chapter 3's, etc., etc. But I think I'm willing to boldly claim Cutie Mew Mew Magic as my favorite UTDR battle track. It also, once again, proves that I have some sort of sixth sense for sniffing out the freedom motif. I hear it. Yep, the freedom motif was in there. I heard it. I am not calling it the Bat-Tat motif. The day that happens is the day a body double has taken my place and I'm found dead in a lake. Wait, Noelle? Stop! Noelle? Noelle? I did not think the psychological discombobulation that was Tenna's intro cutscene could be topped for me. Then the tricky dog decided to make the flower an anime boy. Who are you?
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Susie, let's go back. Where to start with Flowery? Well, I really do like how much of an inversion of Flowey he is. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, but in Undertale, Flowey forced the 6 human souls to obey him. In Deltarune, They just obey Flowery without question through the power of trust and friendship. Flowey was a soulless being. Flowery is anything but soulless. Flowey takes Asgore out of the plot as a last-minute gotcha. Flowery does everything in his power to stop Asgore from being taken out of the plot. And I can't be the only one who maybe gets the impression that Flowery is some weird hybrid mix of Asriel and Rudy, right? I don't mean that literally, of course, but he does have this kind of big brother energy with the way he teases Ralsei and talks to Chris. I wouldn't be surprised if Flowery met Asriel at some point. Hell, maybe that's why Asriel has a drawing of a golden flower on his wall. Perhaps the kid really took a liking to the golden flower for whatever reason, and Flowery took a liking to Asriel? I think Flowery's connection to Rudy is much more intentional, though, viewing himself as Asgore's best friend. It's also much easier to see how Rudy might have imprinted on the flower, since the guy was Asgore's best man at his wedding, which the flowers were grown for. Also, it would not surprise me in the slightest if Asgore talked a lot about Rudy and his health problems to his flowers, especially with how he kept sending flowers to his hospital room. Also, I swear on my life, when I heard Flowery's voice clips for the first time, I lost my mind. His voice is 1 for freaking 1 the joke frat boy tone I use as a gag voice. There has never been a Deltarune character that's been this easy for me to voice. The thing that really gets me with Flowery is he knows about UI elements. Why does he know about UI elements? Like, seriously, why? Has Ralsei's knowledge of it never been that special? But that wouldn't make any sense. Because why would Ralsei bend over backwards to obfuscate that element of the world for Susie? Is it something that Light World characters are privy to? Can't be, because Susie didn't know. And Ralsei, as far as we know, is not from the Light World. Please do correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear the only characters who have explicitly been shown to know about UI elements and stats have been Ralsei and Jevil. And there was this kind of understanding that they knew about that because they had supernatural knowledge. Just, why does Flowery know? Whatever the case, I think he managed to make me just about as mad as he did Ralsei, for similar reasons. I just hope it gets elaborated on in future, or I find out that I just missed something obvious, because as it stands right now, it's just a glaring weird thing that really bugs me. What didn't bug me, though, were these guys. I don't think these characters as a group have any official group name outside of stuff like the Six Flowers or Fallen Humans as Flowers and stuff like that. So I've decided to dub them the Flower Children. And this was particularly special for me. For those of you who don't know my spot in this community, I'm the creator of an Undertale AU called Versotale, a timeline where monsters were assisted by human allies to win the war and seal humanity underground. So, I have a very vested interest in seeing canonical human designs in this series' art style, especially if they pertain to the fallen humans, even if I'm not using them as main characters. And, I mean, we kinda got that? One of the things I really like is that these flower children are not definitively the fallen humans from Undertale in personality and appearance. I mean, one look at yellow and orange should make that clear, unless the bravery human was secretly a mouse the entire time. No, it's more like the flower children parallel or mirror the fallen humans instead. I like this because I'm sure Toby knows about all the fan-made interpretations of the fallen humans' designs and personalities, and he's always been big on fan expression. He wouldn't be one to go, yeah, screw all your fan designs and stories. My fallen human OCs are the only ones you should be using. Besides, these flower characters have their own stories separate from the fallen humans too. I mean, they spend the entire story trying to preserve this dark world for the sake of Asgore's happiness, to repay the generosity and kindness he's given them. Their human counterpart's dynamic with him in Undertale is a little different, but I was a really big fan of the role they played in the story. They all have very defined personalities despite this being their only chapter to shine. Putting yourself in their shoes, it makes the entire ending really sad. They aren't Darkners. These are fully living beings who have gained a new consciousness through the Dark Fountain. They have a level of sentience that other antagonists simply haven't, because those have been inanimate objects in the light world. And what's their purpose with their newfound consciousness? To give the man who kept them alive all these years, well past their expected lifespan, their thanks. And you're fighting for the destruction of their world. Kill or be killed. Okay, it's not as dramatic as that. They're still alive after the fountain is sealed. Well, hopefully they are. I'll definitely miss them though. Especially Aqua. She was my favorite. She made a lot of Jevil references, including but not limited to capitalizing on my weakness to circular attack patterns and kicking my ass in 6 Ways to Sunday. My man, my actual goat, my king, has reclaimed his rightful status as a serious, tragic character. Yeah, the truck memes were funny, but I'm so glad that now he can start being taken seriously as a character again. Ever since Undertale, I've always felt that Asgore was one of the most underrated characters. He's capable of great love, but great fury as well. And we never got to actually physically see that side of him in the underground. We only heard of it through backstory. And man, did Chapter 5 deliver on that front. Seeing what this man, racked with grief and burning anger for those he couldn't protect, looks like. I love how he was handled. Even if he wasn't the final boss like a lot of us expected. We got some sorely needed fleshing out to his story, even if he didn't tell us any new information story-wise. I guess Asgore's knowledge of Dark World shenanigans will be a surprise to more casual fans, who don't spend their days overanalyzing every pixel on screen and every letter in dialogue. But I am so grateful that Asgore wasn't treated like the butt of a joke, and surprisingly, I'm actually happy he wasn't the final boss either. For a moment there, I was wondering if he would be, to be honest. Of course, the interim between Chapter 4 and 5 gave me plenty of time to conclude that Asgore would be the next boss fight, but moments like this and this had me wondering if he had actually gone so far off the deep end that he'd take Chris's life for the sake of the town. I mean, he wouldn't. If there's one thing Asgore cares about more than anyone, it's his family. But, come on. Tell me you didn't think the exact same thing too, as ridiculous as it is. He doesn't exactly have the greatest track record with child mortality rates in Undertale after all. Okay, I've made too many jokes at Asgore's expense. Point is, he was fantastic, and it was really sad seeing the knight cart him off. I don't think Rudy is the knight. I personally think it would be ridiculous, but it is really funny to imagine that the knight specifically chose to kidnap Asgore now because Flowery was making moves on his friend. The regular ending, I think, is about as simple as it gets, really. Next chapter, Noelle's probably going to be visiting Castletown, so we'll finally get to play as her again. I'm not willing to try and predict the tone of the next chapter, because I already tried that with Chapter 5, and it wound up being a wildly different vibe than I expected. I think it's just a really safe bet to imagine that Noelle will be joining the heroes properly. The question on everyone's lips, though, is Rudy dead? Carol said he fell down, which in Undertale was kinda Toby's choppy way of avoiding the plot hole he made, that monsters turn to dust upon death. So he said the Amalgamates had fallen down. He could have easily said they were comatose instead, if that's what he was aiming for, but he didn't. So now we have the phrase fallen down, referring to monster bodies that have somehow not dusted for an unexplainable mystery reason. It could simply be that Rudy, in a literal sense, fainted and fell from overexertion, which I'm more inclined to believe. But I suppose him falling down in the Undertale definition of the phrase is a possibility too, which could lead to an actual definable answer as to what that even means. As for the weird route, well, I did find out that there are possibly 2 versions of it, but from what I can tell, Nothing's really catastrophically different from the normal route after the lake scene. Of course, the fear is that Noelle is going to find out that the dream was indeed real, and absolutely lose it, which feels more like a surefire guarantee than anything. But the weird route ending with the monitor saying to insert Chapter 7 Side B. One of the super common names given to the weird route in the code is Side B. Either this is an official name drop for this alternate path, or it's alluding to the idea that we have reached a different layer of the code, you know, where all the naming schemes are uppercase and such. Or maybe it's literally just as simple as Gaster basically going, "Wait, you can't just sequence break into a chapter whose connection isn't prepared for you yet. Come back when it is." Whatever it is, it's ominous. And now for the main event. What do I think of this chapter? Well, gonna be honest. I loved this chapter, but not as much as it seems a lot of other people do. It's got a lot of great stuff, but it also introduces some questions and problems that feel unintended to me. I already mentioned my qualms with Flowery's meta-knowledge earlier, but I also do feel like going from Chapter 4's somber, foreboding end to this is just a bit too much of a tonal whiplash. But that's the thing, I would totally get it if the shift felt intentional. Man, our whole destiny is weighing on our heads. Let's please just focus on enjoying ourselves and ignore that for now, before things go pear-shaped. In fact, that's what the newsletter blurb seemed to suggest as well. So I don't think it's all that unreasonable to expect that kind of melancholic undertone. And we did kinda get that in a single missable Rouse cutscene. And maybe you can stretch Susie's commitment to Noelle to make her days better as her trying to actively defy whatever tragedy happens in the prophecy. But that's the problem, you have to stretch it. Aside from one optional scene and trying to fit a round peg into a square hole, it just seems like even the story forgot that Chapter 4 ended so somberly. I'm not asking for any kind of grand dramatic scenes, or for Susie, Chris, and Rouse to just be moping around the whole chapter. That would be ridiculous and just wouldn't fit with Toby's writing style at all. But unless I'm overlooking something really obvious, I feel like one Rouse cutscene, and a missable one at that, isn't enough. But for the record so nobody crucifies me, I really liked this chapter. I love the flower characters, and I'm sad they won't be seen again. I love the progression of Susie and Noelle's relationship. I love Pink's parallels to Chris and the player. I will die on the hill that the gameplay of this chapter was the best it's ever been in the series. And I love the ending too. Of both routes. I want to reiterate, these are first impressions, and my thoughts are more than likely to change the more I sit with this chapter. But I didn't want to lie and say that I was over the moon with this chapter when I'm not, you know? Well, I think that just about wraps up the video. Sorry to keep you waiting. This took way too long to make, but it's just because I had a lot to say. I don't think there's anything left I have to talk about. Surprise, turns out, no, we're not done. There's something that just released that I have to talk about. I'm recording this on a whim. This isn't scripted at all. I don't have an outline for this section. I just woke up. It's 8 in the morning for me. Deltarune Chapter 5 was just patched with some crazy new dialogue for Pink in her shop. I need to show you this. This is actually insane. Sometimes it totally pays to be a slow worker, man. This is fresh off the presses, for me at least. Actually insane. The game was just patched, and I need to do this. Okay, so one thing I didn't see in my initial playthrough. You probably saw it in my video, in the earlier parts of it, where I was like, huh, where's friend? It's right here. Ouch. So yeah, that creep is just there. Super creepy and damaging. But that's not all. That's not why I'm making this little snippet. We need to go straight to Pink. Suddenly, the shopkeeper's body took your hand and talked in a low voice only you could hear. Chris? Is your hand okay? It looks like You've got a cat bite, Mew. Cats can be nasty creatures, can't they, Mew? I once met someone who really liked cats, Mew. They liked cats so much, they owned a whole hunting pack of them, Mew. Of course, cats are fickle creatures, but they are very good at finding protein. Chris, if you have any protein, you must keep it hidden and never let anyone see it. The cats are not too smart, but once they find a target, they will never stop chasing it until they get bored. And when they find you, they bite very, very hard. Some people would do anything to get away from them, even change their appearance or go into hiding. Oh, Chris, it's terrible, Mew. It's terrible. Please be careful, Chris. Promise. Huh? Why am I trembling? Was my body saying something? Hey, don't have any conversations without me. Communication is key, right, body? Body? That is actually insane. Okay, so I originally recorded this whole unplanned ramble about how this furthers Chris loses a hand theory and also adds further insight into the whole children followed the pointed tail thing and what might have actually happened to Des. That maybe she hid in a dark world, which would explain why the unused script person is hearing scratching, because Des got targeted by one of the cats after following the tail. And that was fun and cool and all, but something occurred to me. How could the Mew Mew Darkner itself, not Mad Dummy, the figure, know about the owner of the cats? Who owned the Mew Mew figure beforehand who could have reasonably met with the friend pack owner? And furthermore, how could this figure know so much about how they operate? Well, there's kinda two candidates in my mind right now as to who actually owns the cats, Eram and Gaster. Since Chapter 2, Friend has always been associated with Gaster, and I still think that's the case. The file naming convention checks out. But I sincerely doubt the Funny Wingdings man is a big Mew Mew fan. I mean, if he can be a pirate, he can also be a mega fan of the series, but for some reason I just don't feel like he would be. Also, the figure says it met someone, not was owned by this person too. So, hear me out. This is again just me spitballing ideas. But what if the Mew Mew figure originally belonged to Papyrus? I know bringing him up is kinda strange considering he hasn't been seen yet, but in Undertale, Papyrus's room has a collection of action figures. Also in Undertale, Mad Mew Mew was found under the sink in the Skeleton Brothers' house. I know that alone doesn't mean anything, but given how the two universes often parallel each other, I think that could be a hint, right? It would also track. Gaster has always been connected with Sans and Papyrus to some extent. Eram has some connection to Friend as well. And Eram possibly has Gaster connection as well. And if either of them are the Friend owner, who's to say that a chance meeting between them and the figure didn't happen? I don't know. Again, I haven't poked into any real speculation, that's just an idea I had. Just a reminder again, first thoughts, and these are especially first thoughts. Okay, back to your regularly scheduled ending. I don't think there's anything left I have to talk about, so sorry for the abrupt ending too, but you know, I have to get this video out soon before a whole month goes by, and everyone gets mad at me for my opinions not aligning with the definitive fandom consensus. But you know what? It's way more rewarding to come up with these ideas on your own, even if they're wrong. At least for me it is. So thank you very much for watching, everyone.